Yo, now it's the Red Blue Podcast crew. Reviewing flicks, both old and new. Red and blue, not political. Nah, man, chill. It was Marvel versus DC till we lost that thrill. Don't stress the episode, don't ask the season. We double up franchises, don't ask for a reason. Mochi's got rules that nobody gets. His takes on movies, they're wild as it gets. He's got Superbald That and Gray by his side. Trying to keep it sane while they're in for the ride. Mochi's wedges are out of control, but in the end he's got the final role. Yeah, that Blue Podcast, come check the scene. Movies old and new, know what I mean?
Tonight is musical night. How are you, Matt?
I'm fine. Happy to be here to talk about the movie I choose for the occasion for the podcast. So yeah, I'm excited to listen your what you think about this movie, Multi and you, Super. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. And you, guy, how you doing?
How are you, Superbald?
Your microphone not working.
I can't hear you. There's a Superbald that's
Christ.
That's the best intro ever.
Yeah, I'm old. And I have no excuse. I work in technology, so these kind of things shouldn't happen to me. I'm doing all right. I'm tired, though.
I feel you 100%. And I'm doing okay despite my insomnia. That's really annoying and painful. I feel old as well. That Thing You Do and Joe's Apartment are the two movies we are covering tonight. And we are starting with That Thing You Do because that's the one Matt has chosen. And that's the one Matt had enough time to watch to not get into Joe's Apartment yet. So why That Thing You Do, Matt?
Good question. For me, That Thing You Do is one of my favorite movie of Tom Hanks of all time. I feel this movie is not the most well done for this filmography, but this movie he played in the movie, he direct the movie, and he's a writer of the movie. So basically, all the project is this movie is all Tom Hanks style, and I love that. And I feel this movie is captured the essence of the 17 and the 17, 18, and 19. So many bands have just one or two hit, and after that they disappear. That's something common back then. And the movie tried to capture that and tried to capture all the music was so good back then. And I like the story. With so many good talents, some start the career here, some not a career after that, unfortunately. But you have Liv Tyler, you have Jonathan Strasser, Steve Zahn, you have Charlize Theron, you have Tom Everett Scott. This first big movie for him. He not have the big career after that, unfortunately, but he have so many role in so many movie and TV show. Not big, but you can see he's a good actor. Just the chance to have a big role after that. And you have, like I said, you have Liv Tyler, Steve Zahn. I love Steve Zahn. He was in the season 2 of Silo, one of my favorite show of Apple. If you not see the show, go to see. The show is so phenomenal, and in the season 2, Steve Zahn have a role. He's so intense, so perfect in the role. I love that. And you have, of course, Tom Hanks. He played a little role in the movie. He played the manager, Mr. White. He's okay. It's not a big role for him, but he gave him one role to be part of the story, and I like that. And for me, what it worked so well for me is that this movie is a feel-good movie with a perfect soundtrack. The hit you listen many times in the movie, That Thing You Do. I love so much this song. I listen to this song so many times after I see this movie, and I have this song in my playlist to listen when I go driving. I love this song. And yeah, for me, it's a perfect movie of this era. I feel he's not well known. I tried to talk this movie to many of my friends to discover this movie. I don't know if it's the case for you, but back then when I discovered this movie, it was a surprise for me. I don't know anything about this movie other than Tom Hanks, but in the movie. And after that, I see the movie so many times. For me, it's a perfect movie for what is offer a musical movie, a comedy movie, and a rom-com movie. You have two big arc in the story in the story in the movie. One is the band, and the other is the drummer is the real star of the movie, and he slowly fell in love with a girl, and he's really discover what he is, what he want to do. Because like I said, this movie is a story of a band where you have just one hit and disappear after that. Like I said, that's something common back then in the 17, 18, and 19. That unfortunately some band deserve better. But today that's something common because we have the YouTube, you have internet, you can try many times to be famous. That's not the case back then. You need to go to the radio, to the television, to create a hit to do that. And yeah, I like the story and the 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 homage the movie done to that, to the music, to this period of the music. Yeah, I don't have issue with this movie. Maybe I can see that because I love too much this movie. But for me, I think it's one of the best movie Tom Hanks have done. It is interesting to say he have done just two direct. He have direct two movies. This one and Cherry Crow Battle, Larry Crone, in 2011. But other than that, he had never done other directing thing after that. And I feel the Tom Hanks is a good director. Maybe too late to that because he's old now. But I wish he has done much more directing movie or TV show. I feel he has something interesting to offer with that. So yeah, for me, it's one of my favorite movie, and I'm happy to talk this movie with you guys. And I want to hear what you have, if you have love or hate this movie. So I want to listen, you guys.
Perfect. Well, I will ask Superbald, what did you think of that thing you do?
It's a good movie. I had seen it once before, a long time ago, probably around the time that it came out. Um, I didn't really remember much about it. I remember like the general storyline, and that it was Tom Hanks, his pet project. Um, but yeah, so it had been a long time since I'd seen it. Yeah, good movie. I'd say it was a fairly accurate depiction of the times, 1964 and the music industry of the era. Because back then, record labels kind of like controlled your whole career. Like they decided how you dressed, where you were going to play, what you were going to do. You had very little say in all that. What kind of music you were going to play, that kind of thing. And a lot of like these bubblegum pop bands from that era, like the early Beatles, the Dave Clark Five, Manfred Mann, like that. A lot of them didn't even write their own songs. They had like a team of like songwriters for them and stuff. Um, um, and this was like a very, I think, of still very innocent time in the state in America. 1964, the Vietnam War was just starting. Like they make allusion to that in the movie because the bass player enlisted in the Marine Corps, and then we later learned at the end of the movie that he had served in Vietnam. And also, popular music at this time wasn't very political. Again, became much more political later in the 60s because of the Vietnam War and a bunch of other stuff going on. and musicians started more being a little more independent, writing their own songs and making music a lot more political. Later Beatles, Rolling Stones, Jefferson Airplane, Jimi Hendrix. The rock music that came just a few years after this was a lot grittier than like the bubblegum pop of like this era. Um, and we kind of see that in the movie as well. If you're familiar with like the history and what was going on in America at the time. Um, uh, they even make allusion. This is also the beginning of the space race as well. That's why when they're on that TV show, one of the guests was Virgil Gus Grissom. He was played um,
Brian Cranston.
by Bryan Cranston, but Virgil Gus Grissom was a real astronaut. Sadly, he actually died a few years after this movie is set. It's at 1964. I think he died in 1967 in the Apollo 1 fire. Um, and I think this is also a very fairly accurate representation of a one-hit wonder band. Like a lot of bands that were one-hit wonders, I think this probably reflects their story. And bands that didn't last very long because there was no cohesion, then because there were different personalities who wanted different things. Even like the way that Tom Hanks' character describes it, he's like, "You're the smart one. That guy's the talent. That one's the fool." Um, especially what was I lost my train of thought there, but yeah, like the character of Guy, he's like, yeah, the smart one. He's the one who's got a head on his shoulders. He understands the game. He understands the business. Then you've got the talent, which is the singer Jimmy. He's the more artistic one, the more the dreamer, the one he's always taught. His character was very, very, very afraid about his artistic integrity. Then you have the lead guitarist, played by Steve Zahn. I believe he was called Lenny. He was the fool. He was just, to him, it was just fun. He was just along for the ride. He had no pretensions. He was just, I'm gonna go where this takes me, type of thing. As a musician, I'm not a very good musician, but I like to think I'm a musician. I did appreciate the attention to detail when it came to instruments and equipment. It is quite fairly accurate for the and period accurate for the time. Like when they're just starting out playing in the garage, they're playing cheap instruments that were meant to be affordable and for like beginners. Like Jimmy's playing a Les Paul Jr., which actually had the exact same sunburst pattern as my guitar. I have a very similar Les Paul. He had a Les Paul Jr. I have a Les Paul Special, and mine's an Epiphone, not a Gibson. But none of that means anything to you guys if you're not musicians. But and the bass player was playing a Dane Electro bass, which was like a really cheap bass. And then later on, once they start getting famous on TV, they have better guitars. Jimmy's playing a Rickenbacker, Lenny's playing a Fender Jazzmaster. Apparently, Tom Hanks made the actors rehearse for weeks, just so that it would look as realistic as possible when they were playing, because they weren't real musicians, and the music was all pre-recorded by real musicians. But as a musician, I can pick up on these things. Yeah, a couple of times you could see that like their hand movements and stuff didn't quite match, but that's the thing like most people will not pick up on. It was realistic enough. And there was like once he went at one of their first shows, I think they like the bass player dropped his bass by accident, and then he's like all concerned about it. He's looking it over, and that would make sense because when you're first starting out, you only have one instrument, and
they were costly. It's not like today where it's cheap.
Back then too, because nowadays and back then there were like maybe 3 companies that made electric guitars and basses. Now there's like dozens of them, and there's cheap Japanese imports and Korean imports and all that. And back then, your choices were were like Gibson, Fender, and Rickenbacker, and a couple of other little small brands. And yeah, they were expensive. Um, as for the cast, I actually I did not realize Charlize Theron was in this movie. At all. Because well, when I saw this, I saw it around the time it came out, and she wasn't well known at the time, so that completely went over my head. I had completely forgotten she was in this movie. Tom Everett Scott, I thought he was the best actor in the film. He plays the drummer Guy Patterson. Um, the only other thing I've seen him in is Dead Man on Campus, which is a movie I think I would recommend. If you ask me for another list for the podcast, I might put that one on there. Um, Jonathan Schaik, I guess that's how you pronounce that, who played the lead, or rather the singer and the rhythm guitarist, Jimmy. I don't think I've seen him in anything else. I looked up his IMDb and couldn't.
I
Nothing in there jumped out at me.
I see him in other stuff.
Hmm.
Multi know him for he played Jonah X and the Arrowverse. He was in the
Oh,
latest.
Oh,
really?
okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's a
have not
clue.
seen any.
Wow.
I have
Okay.
not seen any of that. So
yeah, he played Jonah X.
The Scar,
I,
the Western guy that
yeah,
shoots people.
yeah, exactly. He's a character from DC Comics, like a cowboy with a ugly face, and this actor play him. He's perfect in the role. I know the character on the comic, and he worked great for that. But other than that, yeah, he's not a big actor too. Yeah.
yeah, and Steve Zahn, as Matt was mentioning, I love Steve Zahn. He's been in a lot of stuff. I think he
Oh yeah.
wasn't very well known when this movie came out, but around this time period, late '90s, early 2000s, he was in a lot of movies, and he's a great actor. Haven't seen him in anything very recent, but mind you, I have not seen a lot of recent movies, so maybe I'm just missing it. But no, he's a great actor, and I really like him. Liv Tyler, she was sort of making a name for herself at the time. She is the daughter of Steven Tyler, the lead singer from Aerosmith. Up until this point, she had been in a couple of Aerosmith music videos. She was in Empire Records, which came out the year before this. That's another movie I would probably recommend if ever you ask me for another list. Um, and later she would go on, obviously, to be in Lord of the Rings trilogy. I have not seen her in anything recent. Um,
She was in the this is a cameo, and she was in the last Captain America movie. lah.
oh, okay.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Ethan Embry, who played the bass player. I only realized at the end of the movie when I was watching the credits that we never actually learned his name during the movie, and he's credited as TB player, the bass player. He was also at Empire Records. Don't know if I've seen him in anything else since then, though. And of course, Tom Hanks as Mr. White. The cut I watched of the movie for this review, I think, is the extended cuts, and apparently there's some extra scenes in it. And there's a scene where he gets picked up to go out by a man, and it's like implying that this character is gay. I don't know if that's in the original cut or if it's just the extended cut, but
Extended cut.
yeah,
I didn't know there were two cuts.
Yeah, movie
Yeah.
two cut.
Wow.
yeah, and obviously this movie was his baby. I mean, he wrote, directed it, and everything. His production company that has co-produced some of the films that he's been in is called Playtone, actually, after the fictional record company in this movie. Story-wise, I thought the movie dragged on a bit, but then I realized that I was probably watching the extended cut, so I would say probably the original cut is probably the perfect runtime.
So maybe I've also seen the extended cut. How long is the extended cut?
About 2 hours.
Oh yeah, I've seen the extended cut, and I agree with you.
I don't see this version yet.
Yeah. There's a few tropes of like these types of movies. You know, I have a hard time articulating that, but yeah, it's I don't think this was very groundbreaking as a movie, but it was, it followed the conventions of the genre. Now, one thing I did notice, and I might be reading a little too much into it, is Lamar, the bellhop at the hotel. He falls a bit into a trope that is called the magical Negro. That's a term that I think was coined by Spike Lee, and it's meant to describe like a black character that has maybe some kind of wisdom or some kind of knowledge, and in some cases even has like magical powers or something, and their sole purpose is to help the white characters along in their journey or to achieve their goal.
Someone just
you-
tuned in and they think we are racist now. Thank you.
Sorry.
Someone tuned into the show and they think we are racist now. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm joking. I know a lot of the people are like that, but I'm joking.
Yeah. Oh well, look at you do. So I don't think that was intentional, but I think a lot of the characters that do fall into that kind of trope may not necessarily be intentional. They're well intentioned, but it is a bit of a negative trope. That being said, I do think this movie does a good job of acknowledging that a lot of rock and roll, especially from the early 60s and bands like the Beatles or Rolling Stones, and they were very heavily influenced by most predominantly black American blues and jazz music. Because there's that character of Del Paxton. I can't remember the character's name. He's not a real person, but he's meant to represent like that whole, people like Buddy Guy and Muddy Waters and a bunch of like old blues and jazz musicians that heavily influenced rock and roll. The song "That Thing You Do" was actually a hit at the time this movie came out. I remember that. It was in the charts. It was a minor hit. The movie itself, though, wasn't that big of a hit. I think it just barely made back its budget and then made a small profit. I think it's a bit of a cult classic, though, but it wasn't like a major hit.
A lot of cult classics are like that.
Yeah. I'm not sure I would watch it again. It was a good movie, though. It's definitely enjoyable.
I feel you.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it.
Thank you for sharing. You had so much to say. I feel ashamed right now because I don't have as much. Now, I will be honest. Musicals, I struggle a lot usually, but this one,
same here. I'm not a fan of musicals either.
This one,
but sorry, not to cut you off, but this one wasn't really a musical in the sense that musicals normally are. Like the characters just don't break. The characters don't break out into song and dance randomly. When they're actually singing and doing, it's like they're a band playing. They're not just like walking around on the street and they start singing type of thing.
Maybe that's why I could tolerate it and actually enjoy it. I enjoyed it. It's just like you, I don't think I would rewatch. But as a single time watch, that was enjoyable. I'd say the movie overall was average. Like it didn't do anything wrong. Well, I had a few issues, but it wasn't like massive crimes where I'm like, that's bad, awful. No, it's just like that's a movie, So my first issue with That Thing You Do, pacing could have been better. Movie could have been an hour 20 to an hour 30 minutes instead of an hour 50, and maybe I've seen the extended version of it.
You see the extended version, I confirm you.
Yeah.
So the original cut probably has better pacing.
Yeah, most likely. So that's a bit unfortunate, but hey, that's the version I've seen. So I guess that's the version I review right now. My second issue, and maybe I will sound crazy there, but I think the characters were forgettable. I can't remember anyone. I can't remember any character arc. All I remember about them is at some point they all break off and there's only one guy and he tries to build up a new band again after that. That's as much as I remember as character goes. There's a lot of shows and a lot of music played. That's all I can remember from that movie. I've seen it like last week, to be honest. So like, it's not that far, and I already forgot most of it. The third issue I had, it's a musical with forgettable music. Even that thing you do, maybe if it plays, I will recognize it, but I can't remember it right now.
Damn, man.
I think the music overall, I maybe it's because it's not my style of music. Like I enjoy rock, but just enjoy. It's not the worst. Like I cannot stand scream. Scream is awful, but like rock is fine. It's just not my cup of tea, and maybe that's why I struggled with the music with that
What
movie.
what is your cup of tea?
The reverse of rock. Those who know music know exactly what I'm talking about.
So
Uh,
instead of rock, it's like what, plastic?
Yeah.
I like that pun, but I like hip hop and rap. That's the
I see
reverse.
why you don't love the music of this movie.
Um,
Okay.
Again, I didn't hate the music itself. I think it was fine, but it's not my go-to when I listen to music. I When I listen to music, that may sound crazy, but I listen for the lyrics. I like what people have to say, and I feel like rock, the emphasis is really the instrument, and that's fine. That's a different style, but that's why I don't really connect well because when I listen to rock, I listen to the instrument much more than the lyrics, and that's not really what I'm aiming for. Like even country, I really like country because the instruments they don't take away from the lyrics; they support it, and I feel like rock. The point of rock is really the instrument and have a good hook so people remember your song, but that's all you need when it comes to rock. And maybe I diminish it, maybe I trash it, but like that's all I feel about rock. So
Yeah, it's as valid opinion as another. It's all subjective, man. So
yeah.
Uh,
um with that being said, these were my three issues, and even if I think the music was forgettable, I think the music made sense with that movie because most of the music used was in the shows and it wasn't ears breaking music. So what I mean by there is you can listen to it, you know. I didn't necessarily enjoy it, but I could listen to it without feeling like my head hurts or something. Because sometimes when you listen to music, you're like, my head hurts. It didn't happen with that movie, so I guess that's a good thing. Um, what I liked about that thing you do, the show was entertaining. Like when they had shows, it's like, oh, the actors are cool. The humor was enjoyable, and the band getting a deal was really it felt earned because they worked hard to get it, and you could tell like they were happy and they deserved the deal they get at some point. And we need that often. Um, and it's funny because I don't know why, but right now I'm thinking about a movie with Timothy Chalamet that came out at the end of last year. A Complete Unknown, I believe that was the title.
oh, the Bob Dylan biopic.
Yeah, I think that movie had more memorable music, just to compare to something more recent. Um,
I'm not a big fan of Bob Dylan. Don't I can be objective here, but for me, the biopic of Bob Dylan was not great. It was good, but not great, and I feel the music was not good use in the movie. But I can understand you prefer Bob Dylan than that.
yeah. So I think that movie, that thing you do, was really good at showing things, show over tell, and that's amazing. Um, and the team breaking up at some point, and the guy trying to find new people to replace, and that was kind of cool. And that romance, the background when they patch up things at the end of the movie, that was fine. That was enjoyable. So I think overall the movie, not my favorite, but that was a fun experience. And again, I've seen it once, and that's more than enough. And unfortunately, I don't have a lot more to say. I'm not. I don't have a lot to say. So that's what's going on. So are we adding anything else, guys?
I don't. I think we talk everything we want to talk about the movie. A bit sad you don't love this movie as do, but I can live with that. For me, one of my favorite movie of Tom Hanks, but I think is my opinion of that. I think the movie is great, but it's not the musical movie is not. The thing with musical is you love or you hate. It's not you're not a between with the musical. I'm not a big fan of musicals. Sometimes I love music. I love musical movie, and sometimes I not. But that's the thing with musical, and that's why the Hollywood has some difficulty to sell that kind of movie because so many people don't like that, and so it's difficult to sell that. And so I can understand why some people don't. Some people love the movie like me. So yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
since
there's
you
two.
got
Sorry, there's two things in
oh
my notes here that I forgot to mention.
oh,
One, I did really like the joke of like when they were using the pun or the clever spelling of wonders, like one ONEDERS, wonders, and nobody gets it. They all call them the Oneaters. I thought that was hilarious. Um, Other than that, and also, yeah, what did I write down? Liv Tyler, her speech when she breaks up with Jimmy, when she's like, "I've wasted countless kisses on you," or something. I just found that speech a bit cringe, to be honest.
okay.
uh, but
maybe
yeah,
she was like that in real life. I mean, it's another era, man.
yeah. Well, I mean, again, that was a very like innocent time. So maybe it fits in with the era.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Like, I don't hate it. It's a good movie.
me neither.
Entertaining.
Like, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but
Entertaining.
it's
It's just not
enjoyable.
something that I think I would sit down and watch again.
True.
Uh, like on my own. But if like somebody's like, "Hey, do you want to watch this with me?" I'm like, yeah, "Sure." I'm not. It would not.
Okay.
It would not be terrible to watch it again, but it's not something I'd watch on my own.
Okay.
I feel you. So I will ask you, what would be your grade out of 10 for that thing you do?
For me, I'm gonna give this a. It was a good effort, so I'm gonna give this a 7.5.
Oh, we are very, very close. What
Oh
about you,
wow.
Matt?
Like I say, I love very much this movie. I love everything with movie done and does. So for me, it's a easy 9 of 10. I know it's not a perfect movie, but he delivered what he is supposed to do, and for me, that works perfectly for me. So yeah, 9 of 10.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. My grade is a 7. I'm slightly below Superbald. Again,
I don't think that's ever happened. You've given a lower grade than
Yeah,
I have.
that's the
I didn't hate that thing, but I've seen it once, and that's more than enough. So with that being said, Matt, what do you have going on your end of the internet? Because you haven't seen Joe's apartment, and that's the next topic.
Oh, nothing new. I see stuff and I talk about that. I write about that. Sorry, but in French, so not for your podcast. Other than that, for the past few weeks, I not see so much stuff. I game much than watch a TV show or a movie. I feel that in the moment we are not so big release on the theater on television. You have some good thing, but I feel we in the next month we have so much better incoming. But yeah, nothing new, the usual. So yeah, and I will let you talk about the next movie. Unfortunately, I not see that one. I talked to you out of the show. Why? And
Yeah,
I appreciate you accept my apology. I will
that's
try.
fine, man. You were there for the main show, and you will be there after we talk about Joe's apartment for another really cool movie. So thank you a lot, Matt, and I will send you the link shortly.
Yeah.
And talk to you soon. Have a good one.
See you soon, guys. Have fun.
Now is the time. Now it's the time we put back that layout there. There we go. Air, boom, boom, boom. So Joe's apartment. I guess this time around you shall start. What did you think of Joe's apartment? Or I before we really get into it, why Joe's apartment? Why did you choose that movie?
This was a favorite of mine back in the day when it came out. I even have it on VHS. um, which is why it was hard for me to find somewhere to watch it for this review because I only have it on VHS. I still have a VCR, but it's not compatible with my current TV. I had a hard time finding it on streaming. Um, I don't own it on DVD, unfortunately. But no, I did manage to find it. And yeah, this was a favorite of mine when it came out. Uh, it's one of those movies that you would watch when you're when you're high or drunk
That's true.
or when you need to turn your brain off for a little while and just watch something that's so dumb that it's good. um uh like this movie honestly could have been titled Toilet Humor the Movie. um because yeah, I mean, just well, you've seen it,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
there's no other word. It's like the perfect description.
yeah, Toilet Humor the Movie. But I loved it anyway. I'm not gonna call it a great movie, but it's one of those movies you watch when you just want to turn your brain off for an hour and a half. um, um, so yeah, this was based on this was MTV's first movie. MTV, which music television in Canada, we had Much Music and Music Plus here in Quebec.
Yeah.
Um, MTV wanted to start producing movies, and this was the first movie that they ever produced. Um, it was written and directed by a guy named John Payson, and this is the only thing he's ever directed, except for a short film that was made a few years before Joe's Apartment that was also called Joe's Apartment, and it was similar. It was like stop. I haven't seen it, but it's like apparently it's stop animation with cockroaches and stuff like that, and then they expanded that into a feature-length film. Um, and apparently, he was also inspired by another short film called Those Damn Roaches and a Japanese movie called Twilight of the Cockroaches. I have not seen either of those, never heard of it. Um, this movie, I think, though, is kind of a technical masterpiece in a way, though, just because of all this barely has any CG. It's all stop motion, puppetry, even some real cockroaches were used in some scenes.
Why am I not surprised?
Which is pretty impressive, even though at the time, like, CG was still very much a new thing, but it was available at the time, and there is some in the movie, but not a lot. And I've always been a fan of stop motion and practical effects and I find that was really well done in this movie. Um, Story wise, I mean, it's you know it's a dumb movie, but
There's worse. I gotta
oh yeah.
tell, there's worse.
But I did very much like the music in it. It was very hilarious. And the dance numbers, and just like, yeah, they did the mastery of the stop motion, I thought was very well done. And I had forgotten a lot of it because I had not seen it in a long time. Some of the cockroaches actually are voiced by Billy West, who later went on to do voices on Futurama. He did Fry, Professor Farnsworth, and a bunch of other.
That's why I recognized that voice. I was like,
yeah.
I've heard that voice before.
Yeah. And Dave Chappelle apparently voiced some of them too.
He was old enough?
Oh yeah. Well, around the time this came out, Dave Chappelle was in a couple of things. He was pretty young. I think he was like in his early 20s. But yeah, he was he was in a movie called Half Baked that I think came out right around this time, or maybe a year or two after this. And he was in a few other things. He played the stand-up comedian in the Eddie Murphy version of Nutty Professor, and that came out, I think, maybe a year or two before this. So yeah, he was starting to make a name for himself at this time.
That's surprising. I thought the guy was young. He's old, actually.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, Dave Chappelle, he's in his probably in his 50s now. Um, the main character, Joe, played by Jerry O'Connell, he was Vern, the fat kid from Stand By Me.
Oh,
At the
really?
Yeah,
I didn't recognize him either. Wow,
yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah.
How
At the
many
time,
things
the
like that? Wow.
yeah, yeah, at the time that this movie was made, he was on a TV show called Sliders, which I was a big fan of. It was a science fiction show that I wasn't going to say is a hit because it actually got canceled twice and brought back twice. But it was a show that had like a cult following.
Interesting.
And when he was a kid, like after he had done Stand By Me, he was on a Canadian. He's not Canadian, but he was on a Canadian TV show called My Secret Identity, where he was like this teenage kid that, as a result of like some science experiment, develops like superpowers. He could fly and stuff like that. I vaguely remember watching that show. Um, Lily, his girlfriend, played by Megan Ward. The only other thing I've seen her in is Encino Man. I looked up her IMDb. She's mostly done TV work since then. Um, Her father was played by the late Robert Vaughn, who in the 60s was in the original version of Man from Uncle. He was in a lot of movies up until when he died, I think about 20 years ago or so. Um, the best name of a character ever, Walter Shit, played by a guy named Jim Turner. I looked up his IMDb, and I think this was maybe like the most high profile thing he's ever done because it's mostly done like small parts in movies and TV, from what I can see from his IMDb. Um,
That's interesting.
yeah, David Huddleston, who played P.I. Smith, P.I.S.N.S. The big guy with the urinal cakes. He was played. Yeah, he also played the Big Lebowski, which in the Big Lebowski, which came out I think maybe a year or two after this. Um, yeah, it had a good soundtrack too. I recognized the Green Day song in that. Fortunately, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. Like it's, I really liked it back in the day. I haven't seen it in a long time, and I'm not sure if it's a movie I would watch now.
Now that you have seen it, you cannot regret it.
No, not really. But I don't think it's a movie. I don't think it's a movie I'd sit down to watch now to be entertained. It was more, young, young me, late teens, early 20s, stoner me that would watch this. Um, but I don't think it's a bad movie though. It's one of those movies that's just so bad that it's good. It's not a movie that tried to be high art or anything. It didn't take itself seriously at all. Um, but it was a massive flop though when it came out. It did not make back its budget, and it was savaged by critics. It has become like a cult classic though. But it was not a hit by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm not surprised. It's tragic, but I'm not surprised. Do you want to add anything else?
No, that's pretty much it.
Amazing. So I sound like a broken record because I feel like so many weeks in a row I don't have a lot to say, but I don't have a lot to say. So I will say
I have the same issue sometimes. Like sometimes I struggle to articulate why I like a movie, why I don't like it, and
So I will admit one thing. I like that movie a bit more than the other movie we covered. Um, is it perfect? No, by any means. That movie has issues, and let's get into my first issue I had with Joe's Apartment. The dialogue overall didn't age well. I feel like a lot
no.
of the things they were saying, I'm like, man, these are not humans speaking. What is going on there? That was insult to dialogue. um, my next issue with this movie, the humor overall, I didn't think it aged well. So it's in the same vein as the dialogue overall. And you said it's toilet humor, and you're right.
And it's very much of its time too.
Yeah, there's no way that would have been made today.
No.
The third issue I had acting and or directing, I wasn't a fan of it. And again, you said it, it's a product of its time, and I feel
Mhm.
like it's exactly that. Uh, it
And the dude who directed, like I said, he's never directed anything else. So I don't. I think he might have been a bit over his head.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I felt while watching that. I was like, man, these people, they don't sell it for me. Um,
Mhm.
and it's a bit unfortunate because I think some of the ideas were very creative. To have like cockroaches talking and everyone hearing
Mhm.
about them, it's an interesting concept. Um, my fourth and last issue. It doesn't make sense the girl would follow a liar to his place, and it was well established he's a liar, and she knows it, but
Yeah,
yet she follows him.
yeah, but that was a trope of, and it probably still is a trope of, like, I think that's something that was stolen from romantic comedies, but
I didn't like it at all. It just feels off. And I have sisters, and I would be embarrassed. I would have like talks with these sisters to tell them if he's lying, don't trust him. It's like for her to follow
yeah,
him in
no,
that weird apartment.
yeah, I have a sister, and I hear you on that.
No, 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 no. Like, no, don't trust him. Don't. They are dangerous, the liars. Anyway, these were my issues. And again, I was entertained. I liked that movie a little bit more than the other one we covered tonight. So here's the why. I admit the opening sequence made me chuckle a bit, like the old lady falling off the stairs. I I chuckled. I admit the city and the apartment both felt like characters, which was creative and fun
Definitely.
and entertaining. I think that was the highlight of that movie. That's why they called it Joe's apartment,
Mm.
and that's cool. And the music was great. Characters were enjoyable overall. The main character was very entertaining. You feel sorry the guy is just like a loser. Let's be honest, he's a loser.
Yeah.
And I think we had a very cool concept that every single living being could talk, and that was fun. Well shown how the main character was a loser at everything, so I repeat myself there. And I think the ending was cool, and overall, that movie was a fun experience. Again, I don't think it's perfect, it has issues, but as a movie that's like an hour and 20-ish minutes, it's just a fun time. You plug it, you just disconnect from reality for that lapse of time,
Yeah.
and there we go. That's what movies should be: entertainment. I don't have a lot more to say. Again, it's unfortunate it didn't work well at the box office, but we have movies like that. We have eras like that. It's unfortunate. It happens. That thing you do is a fun experience. Would I rewatch? To be honest, I don't know. Maybe. I I was entertained enough. I enjoyed enough to maybe give it a second shot eventually, but I don't know. It was fun. That's another movie, another week. Do you have anything else to add?
No, not really.
Well, I guess this is the perfect time for a grade. What would be your grade out of 10 for Joe's apartment?
For this, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
Wow, that's funny. We are so close once again. Twice tonight. Or are we having a strike next week? Um I will give a 7.5. And it's funny because we got it reverse.
Yeah,
You
I was about to say that.
That's crazy. That's so rare. Again, I like that movie slightly more than The Thing You Do, and I think it's really the apartment. And I think the pacing also make it easier to get through. And I like it. That's a fun experience. Again, no masterpiece, but
Hmm.
it was fun. Thank you for recommending me. Because to be
No
honest,
problem.
if you didn't recommend it, I don't think I would have ever seen it. And I have no regrets whatsoever. So that was a fun time. Um,
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
so with that being said, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
Nothing except for this podcast.
Amazing. It's so great to have you on every week. Thank you a lot. So in my end, it's a bit different. Tomorrow is the night we talk about Dexter, the Dragon and I. Dexter, I highly recommend for those who haven't seen the entire show. It's a lot of episodes, a lot of seasons, but it's a fun crime drama with fun characters. Outside of that, well, Saturday we cover more Canadian politics because I like doing these nights where we cover a question period. Find that hilarious. The gaslight and the lies that happens there. I like it. With that being said, next Monday, The Stranger Chapter 2 and the other really atrocious slasher in the same franchise will be covered. Next Tuesday, I think it's a Marvel Tuesday, and it will be quite unique. We will do 2 full review, and we will probably, if Matt comes, have a quick discussion about others movie in that franchise, but no full review of the other movies. Because let's be honest, I hated the other movies, but I didn't hear Matt's thoughts. That's why we will have a quick discussion.
Mhm.
So that's next Tuesday. We have 2 full reviews of Marvel movies. And this is what is going on. And with this, thank you. I will send you the link for Rocketeer. And we are out.
Yeah, that blue podcast. Come check the scene. Movies old and new. Know what I mean? The Red Blue Podcast. Come check the scene. Movies old and new. Know what I mean?